One of the things that I noticed is that there's a lot of a big thing when it comes to HOAs. And basically, they're like, the HOAs have too much power. The HOAs is being abusive. But let's pull this back onto why those HOAs came about in the first place. And I'm not talking about the HOAs for condominiums or the HOAs for townhomes. I'm specifically talking about the HOAs that are mandated whenever they create a new development, which was weird because I'm like, why do you have, whenever you were creating subdivisions, why do you have to create or mandate it that it has to be a HOA? Well, that rule came about because prior to that rule, what was happening, everyone knows that Florida is a hurricane prone state. And after a hurricane, you have this thing called debris. You have this thing called all of the, all of the debris, all of the junk or whatever that comes about after a hurricane. What happened was there were particular subdivisions where the roads were not maintained by the city, and those roads were not maintained by the county. So they were private roads, meaning if you were on a road and it was 20 of you guys, it was up to those 20 residents to make sure that they clean up the road, to make sure that they clean up the debris, or to make sure that they put the debris close enough to the county road, maintained road, or the city road maintained, so that those debris could be picked up. Or they come together with their 20 residents, their 20 neighbors to say, hey, we're all going to take a turn. We're going to put it in the dump. Well, what happened was every time they would have a hurricane, these people would not put their head together, knowing that the road is privately owned, knowing that the city nor the county can just go and get the debris, and they would just burn that stuff in their backyard, or they will allow that stuff to get into the sewer line, or they would dump it in, like, let's say they had a close enough retention pond or a canal, they would dump it there. This happened so much that a law came about that basically said, okay, you know what? Every time a new development, a new subdivision is being created, we're going to mandate that it's a HOA, so that the HOA could be the one to govern, to make sure that, hey, those roads are cleaned up, those sewer lines are good, so forth, those retention ponds are good, so forth. Might I add, it also has to do with wetlands, but I'm not going to get into that. Now, the intention was always good, but what it is now is completely horrible, because now there's not a development being done without an HOA. Again, these are many governments within a government system. So when I keep saying, like, when we're agreeing with stuff and when we're pushing for stuff, we got to look at the future outcome. So now they're putting it in the Florida legislate for them to look at HOAs, because the HOAs have gotten out of control. My problem was, those people in those subdivisions, did they not see what was happening with the condos? Like, did they not see what was happening in the townhome? It was something so simple. You know it's a hurricane. You got a bunch of debris. Pick that junk up on your own and bring it to the dump. Care about the thing that you own, so that the government doesn't come and say, aye, Captain, I'm going to fix it for you. And it's incredibly difficult to remove them, because you gave them that power when you didn't have to give them that power. You have other subdivisions, because they were built on wetlands and swamps, which is a whole nother discussion for another day, that also mandates for them to have a HOA, so that they have a governing government. They don't want to say that's what they are, but HOAs, that's really what they are. So that they have somebody to call on when things needs to be done, when sewer lines needs to be unplugged, when canals needs to be cleaned up, or when canals, the structures around the canals, they need to be tightened up. The only way this thing could be addressed is through laws. This HOA business, it can only be addressed through laws, and people just being understanding what comes with it if we readdress the laws. remove the power that we give them, but then also have the common consent that, hey, we remove the power from them. That means that every time there's a hurricane, we're going to put our heads together with our neighbors to make sure our roads are clean, to make sure we're not piling junk in our backyard, to making sure that the waters are able to flow however there's, whether through the sewer, through the canals, whatever the case may be. And just getting back to the basics of caring for the things that we own. To the next one.